Bingo.
And I took your advice.
Welcome to. Oh, could have shared some. Welcome
It's all
to
mine.
Survivor Circle for January 25th, 2022. Um, our topic for the day is basically uh, lies and deception, and that is okay. Got that turned off. Thank you, Ron. We are running on let's see, 3 platforms today. We're running at Mixler, we're running on YouTube, and we're running, I guess, here. I guess okay. So it's only 2 platforms, but this is so nice. Nice to this is easier. This is easier for me to run than the old board from Mixler,
Mm-hmm.
and I
I
like
agree.
it. I like it. It's
Okay, so
it has-
I
it has-
can't.
once I learn some of the things, we'll be able to do
Mhm.
all kinds of different neat things.
This is true.
Unfortunately, most of those require preparation. You have to have something called files that you have to run. And you have to get ready first. And I'm not well known for my preparation skills. I like to run things just off the cuff. And so one of these days, I will get all my shit together and put it all in a bag, and I won't be able to lift it. But I will try one of these days to use some of those things. How are you today, Maria?
I'm
You're
doing
looking
much
wonderful
better.
as usual.
I'm home. Oh well, thank you. Finally,
And
I don't. I feel like
you were taking my medical advice.
yes, but I haven't gargled it yet.
But save that for later. No,
You don't want to hear
Just
me gargle?
oh, I won't mute you for gargling. I promise.
It's better than yodeling. Just saying.
Hey, it worked for me. I had a touch of that dry, scratchy throat this morning.
I tell you what,
Unfortunately, I didn't have any of that good Kentucky bourbon. I had to use Scope myself. So.
Listerine's my choice. I grew up with Listerine. I can remember the nasty yellow gold.
Yes,
that was the only flavor that they
original,
had.
Right? Yes.
And then they come up with that mint stuff. It's pretty good.
I still actually my preference is still the old straight up Listerine. But I mean, I don't know. You just once you're programmed with that taste and that feeling is programmed in to mean freshness. Say, okay, I can go with that. If you somehow the spearmint or whatever just doesn't, your mouth doesn't feel as clean.
Mm-mm. Too much sugar. There's too much sugar in
it. There's that. Yes, definitely that.
But yeah, we grew up with that. If it burnt,
if it was good medicine, it had to hurt.
It had to hurt.
Methylate, iodine, mercurochrome, alcohol.
Oh yeah, kerosene. I tell you what, kerosene is still a miracle cure.
The drops in sugar.
Oh,
for what was it? Oh, it was nasty, whatever it was. Castor oil.
Oh, anything now my dad.
Anything that was good for you had to hurt.
Yes, my dad. God, I mean, I can always remember him talking about he would not eat baked chicken because it smelled like castor oil tasted.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
and his mother used to give him castor oil all the time. He was
Like,
tall and slender.
it was like a weekly thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh yes, got to keep you regular. Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she did that. So, but now he'd eat fried chicken. Go figure. But because that didn't smell like castor oil tasted. So, but anyway, the old home remedies, I think a lot of them are starting to come back.
Well, they were effective. They
Yes.
just weren't very user friendly
No,
all the time.
no. But I mean, there's still old people today that if they get a cut or something, they pour kerosene on it. My grandmother.
I kind of had to give that kind of thing away. Any of the petrochemical stuff,
Yeah.
bothers me.
Mhm.
And oh my God, the things we used to do.
Mhm.
Trichloroethane.
Yes.
It's highly carcinogenic.
Mhm.
It is absolutely toxic.
Mhm.
It is one of those. It's and you don't have to breathe it or
Right.
drink it. It goes directly through your skin. Okay.
Yes.
And many years ago, when I worked in a plastics plant,
Mhm.
we used to use that stuff. Oh, gloves? Who needs freaking gloves? You just,
Oh yeah.
And 50-gallon drums of it. You just wash the machines down with it. Why? Because it just took that oil and grease and plastic off of hot machines. It just took it right off.
Exactly.
Nobody knew what it did to your kidneys, and let alone the carcinogenic value of it.
Exactly.
That kind of thing, that was all those MSVS sheets and OSHA and all those rulings and things. Those things hadn't come out yet.
Right.
So you were on your own, So that's what they want to get rid of so we can be back to that,
Right.
My first job, which before I was in high school, was mixing glazes in a pottery. And actually, I really loved that job. It's great for somebody who's interested in chemistry. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And all these different, really, really exotic minerals and things, mostly that were that processed in making the colors for the glazes. And like they had a red, it was an apple red, absolutely beautiful. It's like cherry. It was like a candy apple red that you could just see through forever. Okay. And it was cadmium, which is toxic. Then they had a yellow for lemons that it turns out that was actually uranium oxide.
Oh.
Wonderful
that
stuff.
Too funny.
Stuff. Yeah. Okay. and I look back to years and years and years later. Okay. Yeah. If somebody tried to, if you were to run a business and do that stuff now, they would burn you at the stake.
Oh yes.
They would bury you under the prison.
Yes, and laugh.
And then actually, as few of us as there are left of those times and places, that's probably where you deserve to be. But
Right.
I'm glad we have some remnants yet of the watchdogs, that are supposed to keep us from doing really stupid things. And as I said, I've been known to do them myself.
The corporations, just not the
Yeah.
individuals.
Yes.
Because we're
Yes.
really good at doing stupid stuff.
Oh my God, yes. Speaking of dumb things,
Yes.
I guess it's pretty much become a national uh, news blurb
Yes.
from the snowplow driver on the Ohio Turnpike, who wrecked 40 cars.
Oh no.
He was running the snowplow at probably 50, 60 miles an hour on one side of the turnpike, throwing the snow like across over a wall into the other side of the turnpike, into the fast lane.
Gosh.
And there were several really serious wrecks, and over 40 cars were damaged. Now, the
That is awful.
the one that I saw, well, you would imagine just driving along and suddenly at one that had knocked the windshield completely out of the car, and people in the front seats were injured.
Oh my gosh. What was
Could you
he?
imagine driving?
No.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't imagine that. And it's like, what are you thinking? What are you, are you,
Yes.
what are you
Where
on?
Where was your head?
Yeah. How many
Yeah.
hours had you been working without a break? All this stuff.
No. This was 2 days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and this storm had
Oh.
only been in for like 2 days. So at most he was 2 days in. This isn't like, I mean, we've seen winters here where the snowplow drivers were 4 weeks in, and had not had any break whatsoever, working 16, 20 hours a day.
Wow.
And then
That's
you
crazy.
can expect certain things to go haywire.
Yes.
2 days in, no. This was, I don't know. I'm sure they know who it was,
Oh, sure.
and we will hear down the line what happened. But it'll be bad. And dessert.
Oh, as you could see,
Yeah.
live shows are going on behind me. Sorry.
Yes. Well, hey.
Like I said, I think that people are going to start calling me Linda Moulton Howe before it's over with. So.
Oh. Well, your cats are much better, much more acrobatic than hers.
Yeah, hers is a little bit fat and fluffy.
Ooh.
But,
did you? I did start that out with the thing about the litter boxes in the preschool restrooms.
You talked to me about that
Oh, I didn't put that. I wasn't on the air.
not on there.
The littering continues. Yes.
There
There was a story that came out a couple days ago. Anyway, from supposedly, at least, from some mother who had heard that in their elementary school, the Board of Education had, in their great wisdom, decided that they had to accommodate the different genders. So they had boys' rooms, girls' rooms, and others' rooms. And in the others' rooms, in order to accommodate the youngsters who identified as furries, would be offered the facilities of litter boxes rather than the normal human accommodations. And this was out there as as what we have come to accept as a normal sort of craziness that gets put out there at these school board meetings. I mean, look, after last week, when the woman said, "Well, I'm just going to go home and load my guns and come back," and yeah, that created a bit of a kerfuffle.
Imagine that.
Imagine, people getting upset over such a thing. But no, I would see about being upset about the children being offered litter boxes,
Yes.
whatever their little furry preferences were, and gender preferences were. It turns out, I guess it was a hoax. It was an extreme satire.
Oh.
And it's really bad that we can have such, of course, even the people who called it out laughed at it, but they didn't laugh at it as satire. They laughed at it as just how ridiculous it had become, how ridiculous the whole process had become. So I don't know. I at this point, I'm assuming it was satire, and but I would not be proud of that. I would not be proud of pulling a satirical joke on a public that had lost its mind to the point where we couldn't tell it was satire. I guess that's the kind of the joke. We have been lied to so much. There you have lies, half truths, dissonances, cognitive dissonances, exaggerations, deceptions, misinformation, disinformation,
for years,
all the different ways. It seems to me, I mean, people have lied as long as people were probably lying before we were anything that would be identified as people. Okay, it's one of the things that some of the other higher primates have demonstrated, that they know how to lie. The chimps and the bonobos and some of the other gorillas actually do lie, but they're about the only species that does that.
But was that learned behavior from us teaching them, or was that natural?
No, I think we were lying before we were human. Okay, that's just barely, nothing to the artistry and the depth that we do it ourselves now. That's an entirely different matter. Yes, I think that
Amethyst. Did you hear about the incident that happened? I believe in Virginia.
I'm pretty sure the Virginia thing was the one that I'm talking about the restrooms. Okay, but the point is, I think we used to have safe places, safe places where we could talk with our friends, and trusted people, and the places we could get our news that we could say, this is trustworthy. This is trust. This is a place I can trust. If they get something wrong, they get something wrong, but they will not intentionally work to deceive me. Most of you guys are probably too young to ever known Walter Cronkite. He was absolutely the most trusted man in America. If Walter Cronkite came on the air and said it, it was true.
Right.
Right.
Flash made a comment. I don't know about you, Charles, but I was born a human and was created human. And that's fine. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
We're just talking about primates have learned how to lie.
They have learned. There was something about that. I just caught this the other day that a researcher had actually seen chimps napping tools, breaking stones in a way no one has ever seen them do this. As far as they know, no one went in and taught them how to do it. So it must have been observation of some sort, or some telepathy. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, what was that? What's that? And I can remember seeing this when I was a kid, and I don't know what it was brought up in, if I was Reader's Digest, whatever. But it was showing where crows were taking pebbles and putting into a bottle that had water to raise the water level.
Yes, absolutely.
Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. I mean, that could have been a cartoon made up thing, but they're pretty smart.
It's been reported in several different places, so who knows?
I mean, they're pretty smart.
One of the other thing, and it was just there in my head. Okay, there was a group of monkeys that live on an island in Japan, in a preserve. Okay, and they would give them monkey rice to eat. Okay, now the monkeys on their own learned, or one of the monkeys learned, to take the rice and take it down to the water, and the water would float off the husks, and the sand would fall out, and it would be cleaner, and they could bring it back, and then they could eat it. Okay, it was much better, much more pleasant, whatever, by doing that. So other animals can learn, but we are still the one that is the one who has always been at the forefront when it came to lying. But now, and more these days, there's so little. There's no safe places anymore. You can't trust anyone. You can't trust your friends. You can't trust. You can't trust the news. You can't trust what you read. You can't trust, and it's wearing at some point. To you either believe nothing, which is a thing that I have come to see from time to time, or you can you have to check everything, and you have to check the checkers and check the sources that are being checked and figure it out. Sometimes you have to go to see, it seems like, extreme especially in the the past couple of years with COVID, and then the extremes that you have to go to to get to the to get an understanding of what's going on enough to even evaluate whether something is real or unreal. It's exhausting. I think it's just exhausting. And paranoia, sure,
it is.
It is paranoia. It's paranoia. It is paranoia. It's a created paranoia. It's a created insanity, insane condition. And the terrible part is, I am reaching the point in my. I've suspected this before, but I think it's intentional. I think that creation of cognitive dissonance to keep us all confused, and I think the main reason to keep us all confused is so they can continue to pick our pockets. As long as we're worried about the vicious chupacabras jumping out of the bushes to grab us by the throat. We're not particularly concerned about someone who's lifting our wallet. Okay?
Right.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but it sure seems that way. And I'm not sure. I'm not saying that there's a single mega group that has taken over the world that's ready to do this. I think it's a tactic that many people, for their own particular reason in their own particular situation, okay, whether it be political or financial or whatever, have found that it's a very useful tactic. You know, as long as we're as long as we're distracted in one way or the other. I think there were distractions in ancient Rome, in the Colosseums. There were distractions. That was, you know,
that was a very good distraction.
Sure, they didn't do it. They didn't do it for. I mean, what other reason is there? You know, that's what other reason is there?
I don't know, but we are so easily distracted.
Well, I think that's part of our nature too, because if something is presented as a threat, then we are forced by our nature to pay closer attention to it.
Right.
We see this in the UFO thing right now. You know, it's the whole. I'm sorry. There's a whole wing of the UFO research that, oh, no, it's an alien threat. Guys, I hate to tell you this. Any group or civilization that can travel from one star system to the next is not and could be there for at least 70 years, and more likely thousands of years, but they've been around, okay? If they wanted to destroy us, it would be easy. We'd be gone.
Right.
We cannot fight. We could not possibly fight another species that had that ability. It would be impossible. So obviously whether their intentions are entirely benevolent or not, that can still be in dispute to some extent, but they are not actively hostile. If they were actively hostile, we'd be in chains at best. Or
Goofy says that black and white cats are distracting.
Oh, so
I have one of those too. She's just not in the house yet.
You need to bring your colored cat in. The
calico one.
Calico, yes.
Yeah, I don't know where she's at. See? I got 5 bastards. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. That's my distraction. That's you know.
Kevin, I see Kevin made it too.
Yeah, that's another distraction.
That's as distractions go.
Yeah, that's an added distraction. But anyway, yeah, I don't buy into this, and it kind of drives me crazy when they first came out with the threat.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it. It's a military. It's something. I get that.
Why throw it if it's not to create fear against in people who know no better, okay, who haven't really considered it,
right?
Who haven't thought it through.
Correct.
Then why say it? Okay, because if you are someone who would be able to walk into those offices, you know, high military offices and Senate and government offices, if you claim the intellectual and experiential accolades that would give you the keys to those venues, then you know better than that. You know better than to claim it's the War of the Worlds situation. Okay, and it's because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, Independence Day is Independence Day, the movie, was a fantasy. Okay,
It was fun. That was a great movie.
It was great fun, but it was a fantasy.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah, that could never happen.
It was not a documentary.
What about the movie Aliens and Cowboys, or Cowboys and Aliens?
Oh,
now come on, Charles.
Oh boy, I wouldn't. That one could have been real. that could have been like the original Roswell. Okay.
I didn't think about it like that.
I want me one of those, but.
Oh wow! But
well,
I don't.
Okay, do you remember the movie Hangar 18?
Hangar 18. I don't think so. I don't.
Oh,
think
that one goes back into the early 70s, I think.
Oh shit, Charles! I wasn't even into double digits by then.
Oh, yeah. Well, it gets repeated. They drag it out. They drag it out and throw it in on the late night movies every now and then.
Charles, I go to bed with the chickens.
Oh,
I get up with the chickens.
Well, I'm saying,
yeah, I don't get to see all that good late night.
They used to run those things on Saturday afternoons too.
Oh yeah. There's basketball going on at that time, pretty much, or football, depending on the season.
I know.
Now, when baseball season starts, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Other than, anyway, we're not going to go there. Okay, so, but back to the UFO thing. Yes, I mean, for years and years, and everybody that's involved with UFOs, anybody that's experienced UFOs knows that they could wipe us out in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But that story that the news come out with, that, I mean, we knew that they were told they had to come out with a report. We knew all this. We knew when it came out, it was going to be full of crap. It was going to be nothing. And it came out and it was nothing. And we paid too much attention to it. We gave it too much attention.
Yes.
It just kept on for months. And so that aggravated me. But anyways, I'm not a fan of beating a dead horse. So, but they, anyways. So now that's passed, and then we're getting these little snippets of crap.
Whatever happened to Tom DeLonge anyway?
Don't know.
He got Elizondo'd, and then he's gone. He's gone.
Maybe the reptilians got him.
And maybe, when he went back to the inner Earth, took the elevator down one flight too far.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh my God. It's just, yeah. But it's a particular stressor, especially with the thing that has so affected our lives over the past 2 years. And had somebody, I brought this up like on the anniversary of the original shutdown, as to how the costs of this to people's sanity, the cost of this to people's health, the cost of this whole shutdown, slow down, breakdown, the cost to education, the costs to businesses. Well, there have to have been thousands of businesses by this point in the United States, in particular small businesses, that are gone. They're dead. They're gone. They're disappeared. They don't exist anymore.
I have a friend, and he was very fortunate to be able to keep both of his businesses going because he was able to stay on top of all of the small business loans, grants that the government was. And he, the bank that he was going through, helped him keep up with all of that. So that was
Yes.
the best part.
Mhm.
So, and then there were tons of grants that these businesses could apply for that I don't
There
think
was one
businesses knew.
particular fund that I remember hearing about that was, I hate to quote myself, but I'm thinking it was $100 million, and it was for the PPE thing fund.
Yes.
Okay. And it went into this one particular new department that was supposed to take care of that. That was supposed to divest this money to PPE manufacturers in order to keep their
Mhm.
to increase their productivity, right? And
Right.
it came back. It was like 2 years later. Congress said the who's the watchdog of the congressional money, the Inspector General. Okay, the Inspector General's office went in and checked it. We had this $100 million fund. Yes, what happened?
Mhm.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nobody got a grant. Nobody got any money. It just sat there for 2 years.
Mhm.
Now, it was taken from some other place that would have been useful, I suppose. It might have been one of the funds that they took from the military housing department or whatever, and they brought over into for emergency PPE. That was never used. It was never implemented.
Mhm. Mhm.
What the hell,
Man, it was a way to get money out that wasn't budgeted for things that it was supposed to be budgeted for. And they hid it and they put it somewhere. And it was like, oh,
Yeah.
well, nobody's going to pay attention to this right now. So let's just.
There are several. There were hints of several of those kind of scams that were either happened or were somebody blew the whistle on them before they could happen or whatever. It doesn't matter, but it's all the same. It's all the same deal.
Well, you look at the biggest scam that's going on, in my opinion, is the extra money that the hospitals were being given for taking in COVID patients. The extra money that they were being given if someone died.
Mm-hmm.
So no wonder the numbers were jacked up. The hospitals they're not money makers. I mean, normally.
Well,
But you can hit the freaking
okay.
jackpot.
I was gonna say some of those CEOs are really cranking down like $70 million a year. What do you mean they're not making any money?
They are now. They are now.
And okay, wait a minute. This past 2 years, some of the nurses who could stand it, who haven't been driven to insanity or retirement at this point, have put away some sizable bits of cash.
Exactly.
Working 70, 80, 100 hours a week.
Yes.
And dragging down $15,000 paychecks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the government takes 35% of that back in fucking taxes.
It's
a circle jerk.
It's not like they were productive entrepreneurs that should only be taxed at 4%.
Right.
Okay, these are unworthy working people who get paid have to pay the full 35% tax. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Heaven forbid that they take that kind of yes.
But that's kind of,
rate. They shouldn't make billionaires pay that kind of tax rate.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
If we all did our little flat 15 or 10 or whatever it is, hey, it'd be great. I'd have some fucking money in my pocket. Just saying. It's like when your paycheck goes up and down from taxes, then somebody comes in office and they cut the taxes, and then somebody else comes in and there goes your taxes, or your health insurance goes up, or anything like that. And it's not a whole lot of money. And I'm saying I work for in my opinion, one of the most awesome companies I've ever worked for, because they take care of us. They know, but you've got people out there that don't get like I do. They don't have a retirement plan. They don't know how to save for retirement. And I saw that for years when I worked at a bank, and I don't work there anymore, thank God. But it just, God, Charles, please tell me those voices are coming from your side and not behind me somewhere.
Nope.
I heard that and I was like, holy cow. I've already run into that last week. So.
Oh, gets me that way too.
Yeah. But anyways, taxes and stuff. And I get aggravated. It goes up and it goes down. But this whole pandemic thing that's hit, and the money that's being made from different places, the states that were given money that they never used and they're still holding it.
Yes.
For forever, renters didn't have to pay their rent.
Yes.
And then they couldn't be evicted.
Yeah. Something that I was just thinking about lately. Crime is a big problem. Okay. Much more than usual, apparently, in some places. Okay. Not if you look at the figures so much, but okay, let's say it is. This last infrastructure $1 trillion bill that passed early, it had over 100. It had a lot of money to take care of police departments, to make sure that they're funded, to make sure that to put thousands of officers on the street.
Okay, that's great, but are the states going to do it? If the money's given to the state, it's up to the state, county, city to freaking do it. If they're not doing it, they ain't.
What's the problem? Okay.
They ain't. See, you got my Kentucky coming out of me on that one. they ain't doing it, Charles.
They ain't doing it. Oh, I wish the hell they were, but I know. Hey, I'm from the South too.
Yeah, but you're a traitor.
Mine
north.
mine comes out that way when I'm. Oh, wait, is that what we were talking about? And I just spilled my water. Okay. How do I know?
And that's the thing. Yes, you were talking about we had the defund police.
Yes.
And that was a couple of weeks ago. That was one of your your trigger subjects.
It definitely is.
So, but
because I can't find any police departments whose budgets were actually cut.
Big city or states? Which one? Counties? What are you looking for?
Point me one.
That's what I was asking you. Which one are you looking for?
I've looked at Portland. I've looked at Minneapolis. I've looked at New York. Mm-hmm. I've looked at Los Angeles. I've looked at San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And they're all.
Is it personnel or funding?
Funding.
Okay.
Personnel, I'm not so sure because that's.
Mm-hmm. You can't. And I know this for a fact.
But you've got to go to something.
Even
if the budget in 2018 is the same 18, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and it goes up every year, basically.
Right.
There was a small dip in 19, and then it came back up in 20. So, I mean, I can't speak to officer hours on the street, okay? But if the budgets are in line, the Hysteria is that they're defunding the police. They're getting rid of them altogether. They can't, they can't, you know what I'm saying? Over half the force is gone. Those are the stories that we hear. And that's the impression that they want to give out. But it's not there in the figures.
It's hard to hire police officers when they don't know when you're going to turn on them. And I know there's not all cops are good. We all know this. We all know this. We all push
Never
the
have
line.
Been,
they
never
all
will be.
Exactly. And that's just how it is. But when you work for a department that turns, the mayor of that city will turn their back on you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got like New York. New York lost 2 officers this week or weekend in a shooting. They went to answer a domestic,
there was a domestic, yes,
call in Harlem, and they were killed.
Those are the most dangerous.
Yes.
Police situations for 30 years that I know of.
Yes.
You're most likely to get dead in a domestic.
They'll have
than a robbery or anything.
Yeah, I've seen less officers come to a bank robbery than I have that go to a domestic call. And I've been witness to that, and it's amazing. I mean, they come from everywhere because they know that it can go bad quick, and it's not just the person that's causing the problem; it's both of them. I mean,
oh yes, absolutely.
Both of them can turn on an officer in 2 seconds, but it's just you don't have the manpower, and if a lot of police officers are afraid to do too much. Because they don't know what that outcome's going to be.
I don't have a problem with the fact that they're confused too.
Yeah, they are.
When the populace is confused, and they're going to be confused as to what they're doing, and they'll say, well, and a lot of them have said, "You don't appreciate me? Fuck you."
Exactly.
I don't care if I do anything. And that is what has happened. I have seen that. I've heard that. And I said, dude, if I just...
you would see them, like if they had paperwork or something to do, they would sit on the side of the road in a parking lot or something like that. And you would see them with the dome lights on, and they would be doing their paperwork.
Yep.
They don't do that anymore because it's in certain areas.
They're looking at that as being, lethal, dangerous to be doing that. Yeah.
Right. So you don't see that a whole lot anymore. And I know my daughter-in-law, I know that after all of that George Floyd stuff, she really had to watch herself. And she's kind of in a small, big town in Kentucky. But all of them had to watch out. And in the troubled areas, every town's got a bad side of town.
Sure.
The bad side of town got even worse. And and they were bad enough already. They were shooting mortar rounds at the cops.
Okay.
They got better weapons than the cops do.
Sounds like Beirut.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Damascus.
So So when they have to go there, they have to go in. A whole bunch of them have to go.
Yeah.
And then that upsets the people there because they think the cops are coming in to take them over. It's just we've lost civilization pretty much.
Well, see that, and it
in those areas.
It all kind of builds into a big ball,
Right.
And it all goes back to the deception. And when our communal concept of reality is shaken, shattered, it causes a feedback. into that whole situation.
Right.
Okay. And I hate to be the person to say this, but I really, really run it all right back to the killing of John Fitzgerald Kennedy in November of 1963. Once that was hidden, lied about, covered up, and it created a wound in the psyche of America that we have never gotten over, because it has never been. It's an infection that's been allowed to continue. It was there in Watergate. It was there in Iran-Contra. It was there. The same people, the same groups,
Right.
have anytime anything in America goes to shit, if you look a little harder, you'll see the same groups and families are at the heart of it. And that's pretty awful. You know? I mean, in the 1980s, they brought back Roswell, you know, as the big hidden covered up, which it was. There's no doubt in my mind that it was. In those days, and maybe it became the model because it worked for so long. It worked so well for so long.
Right.
But the people that accepted that deception in the post-war era were not us. We are different because we grew up and saw that. Okay, we heard about Roswell before we actually knew about it. Okay, we heard about these strange things that happened. We heard about the Mothman, or we heard about the Flatwoods Monster, or we heard about the lights in the sky, or lights on, or we heard about Travis Walton being abducted. We heard about all these people, people we've talked to here,
right,
and people who were made fun of, some were driven to suicide.
Yes.
From the defamement and the absolute criminal destruction of their lives to hide what they were trying to speak about.
Right.
See, that's the beginning of the poison, but that in the 50s, that worked so well because you didn't talk about this stuff in the 50s.
Well, not only that, look how many years it took and how many conspiracy theories that came true.
Yes.
And then people, what was it, in the 80s, the 90s, that people started paying attention? It's like, holy shit, everything that's been talked about for all these years.
A lot of that goes back to the Church Commission in the early 70s, I believe, where they walked out and they said, oh yeah, we've got those. We've got the gun, the heart attack gun. They'll shoot the little pellet in and give you a heart attack. No, undetectable.
Okay. So how much credit?
This, we've got that. We've got the other. We had the cat that we had, wired into their brain so that we could program the little cat to go carry a microphone to sit under the park bench where the spies are meeting. Yeah, we did that. We gave our scientists LSD, and then when they were ready to blow the whistle about it, we tossed him out a fucking window.
Exactly. But
You know?
don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Don't believe it. It didn't really
No.
happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen. It had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with the LSD.
So I want to know, Charles, how much did the X-Files have to do with this? With people waking up?
Hmm. Oh my goodness.
How many programs?
I'm trying to think of what was there anything I can't roll. I'm having a hard time rolling it backward in my memories.
We had
most
so okay.
and
So we had a
mostly
lot of
because
programs.
I have always been on the outside. I have always been the questioner
Mhm.
that I have looked at this crazy stuff forever. So when the X-Files came out, I was not surprised. I was surprised that it got on TV, but I was
Well,
not
but now we had Twilight
surprised.
Zone.
Yes, we had Twilight Zone.
What was
We
the other
had
one?
Star Trek, Outer
Yeah,
Limits. Gosh, there were several, but in the real I I don't know. So the real conspiracy stuff. Oh my goodness.
When did that start? Okay, so we had something before X-Files that was on in the 80s, and I can't. Was it Unsolved Mysteries or something? But that
Was
that
Unsolved
didn't do
Mysteries.
that didn't really do government conspiracies. But
Yeah,
there were
that was like the
shows that
Graham
would come
Hancock
out.
kind of history stuff.
Well, I guess more when we got more cable. We weren't all stuck with 3 channels and an
Oh,
antenna.
Jesse Ventura's show. That was, but that
was
was
in
way
the
after
90s.
X
Yeah,
Files.
that was way after. But there were shows like, okay, so Discovery Channel sometime or another that come out till the learn. I remember when the Learning Channel was the Learning Channel.
Mhm.
The History Channel would come out.
It was actually had history on it. Yes.
Yeah, it had history on it. Now it's just got Ancient Aliens.
Arts and Entertainment used to actually have plays and things
Yep.
like that. Yes.
Yeah, it did. And then
Right.
that turned to, oh, okay. So that's something else. I got to jump into this real quick.
Oh no.
You brought up A&E, so this is a
Mhm.
burr in my saddle. Do you remember when Live PD come on? Did you ever watch that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That show was an amazing hit, and people loved it. It was on Friday and Saturday nights. It was live. And when that George Floyd craps come out, they canceled that damn show. Like the very next show was freaking canceled, and it's never come back on.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I don't watch enough contemporary television.
I would put it on the I would DVR it because
Okay.
I hate commercials, number one. But I was always out late and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'd watched it first thing in the morning. So, but I mean, that show was awesome, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. They kept adding more and more cities, and they would follow these cops around, and it was great. It was it was perfect because number one, it showed you the cops' behavior. Number two, it showed you what they dealt with.
Yes.
And the stupidity. And I mean, just and the constant repeat offenders. So but I swear that George Floyd, whatever it was, that next Friday, that show was gone. It never came back on again. And they all tried to fight it tooth and nail, but it never did come back. So anyways, whatever we were talking about before that. Government conspiracies. So anyway.
Yes.
But I mean, that's just how it works. It was
Not the way.
the cops were getting a good name, and then they were like, "Nope, can't happen."
Okay. Yes, I understand what you're saying there. But I'm just saying, really, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. Okay, I'm not saying I'm not saying that in the 1930s or the 1950s or the 1900s, it was all that much better. Okay. Each of those eras has had its own problems.
Right.
You know, we're humans. We're trying to get through this thing as best we can, but we didn't have this problem to the point where it's reached a point, the disinformation, misinformation, exaggeration, just plain old made up lies
Right.
have reached the point where it's actually becoming toxic. Okay. You can't talk to people who have a minor disagreement with something that you, okay. I think sales taxes should be 6%. You think they should be 5%. Okay. We're not allowed to compromise and say 6%, but we have to shoot it out. I mean,
Right.
Okay. You know?
Well, and that's like you were talking about satire. This generation has absolutely no clue.
Oh, no, there's very, that
Nobody has a
disappeared.
sense of humor anymore.
Okay. Emily Latella on Saturday Night Live. That was satire. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Or and at that time there were numerous voices, numerous comedians. Now the comedians do the straight news. Okay.
And it's crap.
Yeah, but it's all there is.
Yeah.
You know, who am I trying to think of?
Dennis Miller
retired.
Cracked me up when he did
Yeah.
that was the good Saturday Night Live. That's when you had all those. I mean, they were funny, and they could make fun of people, and it was funny.
Yes.
But then and I don't know. I quit watching Saturday Night Live because I had a kid and life took over.
Yeah.
I went to bed with the chickens. But yeah, I mean, it's just everybody gets their feelings hurt. Everybody's offended. It's ridiculous anymore. At work, and I love my coworkers, but it's like I'm working with people that are quite a bit younger than me. Sometimes it's wow. I just go back to my office.
Do you? Yes.
Everything's taken to heart.
Really?
Everything is somebody's coming after
personalized?
me. Yes.
Okay.
Very, very. And it's like,
okay.
It's like, I didn't get that. This is what I got from that. And then it's just like, no, that's not, it was towards me. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to go back to my office. Shut my door.
Well, okay. I've got nieces and nephews and stuff.
Now, not all of them are like that. I'm just saying.
No. I can see in their interactions with others of their peer group or that sort of thing. But that's something that is that
mentality.
Snowflake. That's
yes.
Oh, yes. And it's not snowflakes on one side or snowflakes on the other side. It's just both sides. Both sides are becoming snowflakes. Okay.
Yes.
That anything that's not 100%, and I guess that's what I'm a snowflake too. Because if it strikes me as a lie, if it creates cognitive dissonance in me, it pisses me off. I can't help it.
I know, but I really giggle so hard when you do. I can read some of your comments. And I'm like,
but you know what? Funny. You know what? You know what's funny? What's really bad about that? It pisses me off because I care. You know, if I just said to hell with it, it would be entirely different.
If it was something that we could fix,
it would be great. I think we can do better than this. I think there's thousands and thousands of examples where we can be better than what we're doing right now.
Mhm.
And there's no damn excuse, no good excuse for why we can't find that path.
Right.
And when
Well, it's
people are intentionally driving us off the cliff,
mhm.
it makes me angry.
That's right. But and too, it's something that I've noticed, and I know you've heard of this, but there's a lot of
Well,
people now that are starting to homeschool simply
yes,
because they can't deal with what's going on. A lot of teachers are actually taking early retirement because
I
they can't
am.
deal with
That
the
scares
behavior.
the hell out of me as bad as anything,
Mhm.
because
They still,
I've seen the results of homeschooling.
and see, they have a curriculum that they're supposed to follow, just like
Yes, I do. I
they're
understand.
supposed to have it. But I mean, you're looking at what's going on in the public
Okay,
school system.
where you're talking, where we're just talking about the snowflakes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
snowflakes, and okay,
Mhm.
those children who have been protected in that hothouse environment, who have
Yes.
not been out there dealing with hundreds of other young people
Mhm.
in the old-fashioned school environment,
Right.
they don't do well.
Mhm. Mhm.
As a general class, they don't do well.
Right. Well, and that's the parents' fault.
Yes, but
But that's
what
the
I'm saying, there
socialization.
has to be. Yes, but we need to find a better path. I don't think that there's not a path that can be taken. You know what I'm saying?
I
It
do
has to
know,
do.
and I think it just
The
depends.
lessons in life that we need to learn are not in a curriculum.
Right.
we have to apparent up to this point in time in history, we've had to come around and learn them the hard way
I've heard
by
so many
experiencing
people
it.
say they need to teach this in school. They need to teach that in school. No,
Yes,
you need to teach that at home.
yes, yes.
That's not the
Mhm.
school's responsibility. That's not your teacher's responsibility. You need to teach your child how to keep a checkbook. You need to teach your child how to drive right, how to respect
How to
others.
wash dishes,
Yeah.
how to do their own laundry,
Mhm.
how to cook their own food,
Oh, okay. So I've got to tell
how
you.
to grow their own food.
Okay. Well, now I'll tell you what, there's a
Understand,
lot of
no,
people that are going back to
understand,
that now.
understand from the basis, from the ground up,
Mhm.
what it takes
Mhm.
to build a society.
Let's see. And there's a lot
Okay,
of people that are going to that now. They're growing their own food.
yes,
They're
yes,
slaughtering their own hogs and
yeah.
cattle, and they're putting because they're
I
seeing
am.
what's happening.
I had
But
the benefit of growing up on a little river in the middle of West Virginia,
mhm, mhm,
and we had a garden that was the staples that we survived on.
right.
We had hogs
Mhm,
and we had chickens,
right.
and we, you understood where it came from and what you did, what your place in, and you had a place in the whole mechanism of the world. Was
Mm,
you were not separate from it, you were a part of it. Okay,
right.
and that creates an entirely different mindset,
Mhm,
I think.
mhm, mhm.
And I think we need more of that. We can't. The Jetsons was a cartoon.
Right.
It's not who we turned out to be. Okay.
Oh, far from it. Far from it.
Yes.
But that's my son, and he's just, to me, he's a different kid. Believe it. He's mine. So, um,
And how could he not be, right?
Yeah, God love that child. He has turned out great. I don't know what alien species took over and finished raising him or got into his mind and fixed it. But and he's married a lady that they both like to eat healthy. They both like to eat organic. I guess you want to call it organic,
Okay.
but it's dumb. I'm not going to go to the grocery store and buy organic food.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can slap. I'm not paying twice as much money for something that has had less. Anyways, doesn't matter. So they started to grow. They're growing their own garden, their own food. They've already got chickens that they're gonna take care of, and then that's gonna build up to be more because number one, you've seen what the grocery shelves look like right now. Just
Not
even in
today.
the town, yeah, the little town that I live in,
Mhm.
there's no meat on the shelves. I've never seen that except
Oh.
when there's been a snowstorm and everybody acts idiot because a snowstorm here is like
Mhm.
maybe 4 inches and you're going to be in your house for 2 freaking days. That's it.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy. But anyway,
Well,
but a
here's
lot of
one
people are starting to grow their own stuff, and
Mhm.
cities are turning against people. They don't want them to do that. Some cities put ordinances out so you can't do that. You can't catch your own rainwater.
that some of that is so ridiculous.
It really
just-
is. But
I mean,
it's your
it's-
city
it's-
officials that you've
it just-
voted
it just-
in. Vote them out.
Speaking of cognitive dissonance,
Yeah.
yes, that totally the point that you can be sent to jail for catching rainwater
Yes.
totally twists my mind altogether.
Yeah.
have-
Exactly. Exactly.
I can't even patch together a justification for that. You know? Or if
But
everybody caught their own rainwater, then
the
yeah.
rivers would be
No.
dry. Your lakes, your reservoirs, you wouldn't have water to drink.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, everybody isn't that big. Everybody isn't the whole damn world. You know,
Right. Exactly.
and no matter if everybody caught every drop of rainwater that fell on their house, and I mean saying everybody,
Mhm.
you know, it still wouldn't make a damn bit of difference
Nope.
because the world is bigger than you are, Mr. Councilman.
Next week, we're going to talk about global warming because the world's a lot bigger
Oh,
than our little bitty global warming. I'm kidding, Charles. We're not talking about global warming. I'm so sick of that
oh,
stupid
come on,
shit.
come on,
No.
please.
We had massive tornadoes that
fun,
come
no.
through here and ripped
Yeah, I
apart
know.
our state, and then
And-
3
and-
weeks
and we're
later,
having-
we're buried
we're
under
having-
snow.
We're having blizzards this week.
Yeah,
so-
we're buried under snow, and we
Gosh.
have teens and
That's
like
weather.
that. But nobody's talking
Yeah,
about
but just you wait till that next volcano goes off.
Ooh, I'm gonna be all over
The
that.
wait till Cumbra Viega on La Palma slides into the ocean.
It'll be global warming's fault, guarantee it. It'll be because we did something to cause it to explode. Guaranteed.
I think Hillary Clinton did it in 1915 or 2015 on one of her State Department tours.
Hmm.
For some reason, she stopped in the Canaries
Uh-huh.
during one of the big crises. I think she nuked them.
She probably did.
Yeah,
She probably did. But you know what? If you threw her in a
This was when
volcano
they
as a
were- this was when
sacrifice,
they
they'd
were
kick her
watching
back
it.
out.
Maybe that's what she did with all that Russian uranium.
Could be. You never know.
Hey,
The Clintons have a hell of a lot more money than we do. So, anyways, 6:40, 7:45.
Well, we're having so much fun.
And we got another show
But-
coming up, just
I know.
radio show coming up
Just right
for about an hour on Mixler, and then at 9 p.m. Eastern. I hate these
So
times.
now we're going to have some nice, relaxing music, so everybody can calm down and get ready for an entertaining evening with Kevin and
Reality Russ.
Reality Russ.
y'all strap in because put your seatbelts on when that man comes on because good Lord, there's no telling where that show's going because he can't get his
I
camera
want to thank
fixed.
you all for being here. It's been great fun. And one of these days, we're going to do this like a real show.
Have all my cats right here.
Oh, maybe I can do it like, oh my gosh. I'll get a whiteboard, little charts. I'll get a lab coat. Yeah.
You've got to do that.
And a tie. Yes. Oh my
Bow
God.
tie. Let's be bow tie. Les
Love you
Nesman.
guys. It's been great fun, and thank you all for being here. And good night, Maria.
Good night.